sorry if it's a little quiet. It might be a little hard to hear me for a bit while I'm still tweaking things around, so I'm just gonna keep chatting until I get everything up to the way that I want it to be. So we're gonna keep going here. Let me... Also, if I go quiet here for a little bit, it's probably because I'm working on something behind the scenes. So we're just doing some technical stuff right here. But I hope everyone's doing good. I hope it's a good night for everybody. Got some kind of chill lo-fi stuff playing in the background. That's definitely gonna get copyright claimed, but you know what? I don't really care. Well, looks like this is about as loud as my microphone can pick up, so we're just gonna have to deal with some really quiet audio right now, but I'm gonna do my best to make sure that everything is loud enough for you to hear as I'm talking. I'm gonna turn the music down a bit so that we can all hear everything, but for right now, this is the the level that my mic allows me to be at. Hopefully I can get a better, more cohesive mic later down the line. So I've got this sketch here that I've been working on for a while. I had this kind of like interesting idea to go with kind of like a water pitcher situation going, and then a face like stuck inside it. I've just been feeling really like trapped in summer while I'm trying to be in autumn, so I guess that's where this came from, just this idea of being like completely trapped or stuck, which kind of sucks to be at, but I'm doing my best to make good art out of it. It's really hard being here in Georgia, in a really southern state, and being in the hot climate and everything, and then it's supposed to be autumn but it's actually not. So I'm gonna try to keep working on this. I've got this kind of face ironed out the way that I want it to be. I've got a somewhat of a color palette that I want to work with, but for right now I think the next big thing that really needs to be ironed out is hairstyle for this character. Whoever it is kind of looks like me a little bit, but so does everything that I draw. But you know, I'm just gonna go through and do some like cleanup sketching. Some of the brushes that I like to use when I'm working, I love this Buse greasy pencil here. All of these like pencils are really great for when I'm doing sketching, because they make these kind of like fun squiggly, and then you can get them really thick when you run with them. And then I also really like when I'm working if I'm working on like more final stuff, I really love this Husky ink brush, because you can kind of like get really soft inking with it, and then you can also harden it down. I'm also working here in Clip Studio Paint Pro. A lot of people have this. It's a really cheap program. You can get it pretty cost effectively, so I got it when I was in university. and I've just been using it strictly ever since. I really like it. I'm not a huge fan of like Adobe or Photoshop or any of that, so when I think of like good drawing programs, I usually just go with Clip Pro. But you'll see here I'm just kind of like cleaning the sketch a little bit, making sure that the lines are exactly the way I want them, that I have like a style that I'm going for right now. I really want like soft, like full eyelashes, but not like so much that it just overpowers the eye. And you can see here that like I'm already having trouble with this eye kind of getting lost over here on this side of the face. So I'm really gonna try to like make these lashes a little bit less obtrusive, a little nicer to deal with. Also, if you hear something in the background, that's my dog, that's Hoshi. She's upset because I'm talking and she's not used to that. But yeah, we're just gonna try to like gently polish all of this up, make everything a little bit clearer, a little bit easier to see for when I go in with a little more detail with like actual paint later. Also, I just really want like to really nail down this eye shape because I want these kind of big soft eyes, but like also a little bit intense, just to go with like the emotions that kind of go with this feeling, this kind of illustration. You'll see that I use like a lot of like kind of sketchy motions, especially this early on, and that's mostly just because I really want like this. I don't want like clean lines right now. Also, I tend to redo everything like 8 billion times, so get prepared for that. You're gonna see me do the same lines like 30 times, and it's just part of the drawing process. I really do not I guess make everything clean. I tend to take like 3 hours to just do some basic line work, and that's like on a good day. So I don't even do line work anymore. I go from like this kind of sketchy stuff to like finished painting, because it doesn't make any sense to go from this to line work to finish painting if I'm just going to paint over the lines anyway. But yeah, just gently polishing this all up. Once I get this kind of polished out, I might swap over to doing some background work on this piece and get that kind of cleared away. Another thing that I really like to do is I like to have a color underneath my painting, and when I'm doing line work I like to have it like this so that I can really easily drop that color in, and have like a way to turn the sketch on and off that isn't so like jarring to the eyes as if I turn both of these off. That's just super jarring, and I don't really like that. I like to have like a cleaner way to turn the sketch off that still gives me control, but that doesn't make me feel like I'm drawing on, you know, some kind of like super bright white tablet paper or something. I just really am sensitive to the light, I guess, and it bothers me to have this like super clean white background when I'm working, so I like to work with softer colors, usually in the same color family as whatever I want to use for the piece. So like this clearly has some, I want to do some like autumn colors and palettes, so I'm going to be working with those, and this kind of like pumpkin-y orange falls into that, so I really want to have that in there. Also, just it makes it easier down the line for when I want to paint, because when I want to do painting, I can really easily swap over to that. Also, I'm gonna have like some trouble talking back and forth, I guess, because I've got a little bit of allergies right now, which is another big thing during this time of year that makes just life hellish. It just makes me want actual autumn to happen, because once it gets cold, allergies just kind of like dissipate. I don't know if it's that way for anyone else, but for me, soon as the cold hits, there's like no more allergies, there's no more bad throat. It just kind of goes away, and then I'm left to my own devices of drinking apple cider and enjoying autumn. And I feel like living in the South, I just haven't actually experienced autumn in like years, and that in some ways makes me really sad, and in other ways it's kind of a blessing, because when I do get to travel and get to go up, I mean obviously not right now because COVID, but when I do get to travel and get to go up to, you know, see family or friends that live in the north, I end up being able to experience autumn again, kind of like it's my first time, and it's really happy. It makes me like appreciate not living in that climate, even though I do want to move back to the north. It just kind of puts everything in perspective, makes you happy for what you've got, you know. And I miss autumn, traditional autumn, so much. But in some ways, I guess I wouldn't be doing drawings like this if I didn't miss it. So, you know, maybe a little bit good, a little bit bad, kind of like everything in life. But yeah, this is gonna be a really chill vibes stream. I'm not really gonna be talking about anything heavy, because to be honest, I don't have the energy for it. I don't have the energy for a lot of stuff right now. I just did a bunch of errands and ate like a huge burger, so my energy is a little tapped right now, and I'm also just, you know, dealing with a lot in life. Life is just throwing a lot at you, so I'm just kind of coasting, trying to, I guess the purpose of like doing these streams has been mostly for myself. I know a lot of people don't really attend them, and I don't intend for them to be for other people to attend. I kind of make them for me, for something to look back on, and I guess the main reason I started doing it was so that I could fall back in love with like doing art. Like I really wanted, I guess, a way to like keep myself accountable when I was working, and a way to like draw things that I wanted to draw, and not just what makes me money, or what I thought was doing well algorithmically, or what was trending, or, you know, I spent a lot of my time just trying to like chase those things, trying to make things that like really didn't make me happy. I'm sure they made other people happy, I'm sure they were great, but like I look back on some of the things I made in previous years and just kind of realized that I have no attachment to them. Like I went through university and realized that a lot of the stuff that I made in university I just have no attachment to. Like I can't be brought to care, which is a real bad place to be in art. It's not fun to be there. It's not fun to be in that place where, you know, what you're making doesn't make you happy. And I just wanted to, I guess, start a place on reviving my YouTube channel, where I make stuff that does make me happy, where I kind of draw what I want, where I make cool stuff and I don't really have to answer to anybody. And I guess that the motivation for that has been just that, just trying to make me fall back in love with doing art, and like actual art, like illustrations and conceptual stuff, because I find that like illustration work in particular doesn't really pay well. Like, it pays well if you do well at it and you get hired somewhere great, and you know, don't get discouraged about like doing something that doesn't pay well, because obviously if it makes you happy, just do it. But it's not really like sustainable, I guess, for like a career anymore, because unless you have a real recognizable style, which I struggle with, or you have a industry that's like willing to shell out for your work. Most of illustration work is just going to be editorial, and most of editorial illustration is really geared toward like non-realism, and it's like the biggest thing right now is just very cartoony illustration. And not that there's anything wrong with cartooning, I have done it myself, I love cartooning, it's fun to simplify things, but that's not what I like to do. I didn't really like sign up to be an animator, I didn't sign up to do cartoons. I went to school for comic books, which has some tune of cartooning to it. Obviously, like, you can tell that I do simplify some drawing things. I do have like some shorthand that I like to work from, but I don't fully cartoon anything. And because of that, a lot of illustration jobs are just full on like all out cartooning, and it's a lot. It's a lot of labor that I guess I just never really wanted to be connected with. So it's not that like you can't get work as an illustrator, it's that the type of work is going to be that kind. It's going to be, you have to have like a cohesive style, usually a style that like reads well to non-artists, which is another, like, you have to pander to the non-artist market, and people tend to not care how much time you put into work, and tend to be more impressed with the shorthand and style that you've come to be known for, which isn't always a bad thing. Like, I'm not saying any of this to say this is the wrong way to do things. Like, I do think that there's merit to that, but I also think that there should be some merit in more realistic, like, classical illustration that's kind of been lost in recent years as far as like the art world is concerned. A lot of like art jobs have geared away from that, and if you want to do more classical illustration, it's mostly game design or like a game studio. And I've worked with a couple of studios. They're great. I love doing games. I've shipped a couple, but you know, they take a lot more effort, and if you're doing like a small indie game, they don't always pay great. So I don't always want to work for a game studio. Sometimes I just want to do some real fun, realistic illustration and not have to answer to anybody about it. Not have to like have an art director who wants to know why I made one decision over another, or who wants me to design a character and then expects me to know how to rig and animate it, which I guess is just a failing of like the art community as a whole. A lot of art community stuff just assumes that you're going to be into animation if you get into arts, and I never have been. Like, I've never wanted to animate. I don't think I ever will. I don't think that's something that like is in the cards for me. Like, I might do it for money, but you'd have to pay me. I even being paid, it's just a lot of stuff I never wanted to do. So I can't see myself like actually learning to animate for fun. That being said, I do use Blender a lot. For someone who says that they hate animation, Blender is like one of my favorite things to use. Just for like, I love using it to make backgrounds. Like I legit adore Blender for backgrounds. It's super fast. Well, if you know how to use it, it goes faster than trying to do perspective grids and trying to make everything super clean on a grid. But Clip Studio also has some really great perspective tools. Like you'll probably see me actually let's do that on a different layer. But Clip Studio has these really cool tools, like over here in the little ruler section, where you can use like special rulers and figure rulers and stuff. But if we just go linear ruler and then go like this, I can put in a ruler there, and then anything that I draw on that ruler becomes the thing. So I can make this slightly curved, kind of manipulate this curve here. I don't like that. Let's just go with linear ruler. We'll do this, and then I can always connect it later. And anything you draw on that ruler just snaps to the ruler unless you change the settings to make it not do that. I usually keep the settings on so that it does do that, just because it's a lot easier shorthand wise, but you can turn off the snap to ruler settings if you want your ruler to just be in the background and help you kind of like visualize stuff. You can also go over here, and usually when I'm done, I just delete my rulers so that they're gone and I don't have to worry about them. But yeah, that's the Clip Studio has that, which has made using Blender not really necessary. But I kind of, when I got into doing art professionally, Blender was one of the only ways to do like really big three-dimensional pieces without mapping them out entirely or creating your own grids. Actually, I had a professor in university that had like a folder full of grids, and he would give them to students like they were these like really valuable gifts, and they still really are. I've kept the entire folder, but yeah, he treated them like a secret textbook or something that he had that he could like help people with, and that's how it was back then. You know, you had to have like a good grid, and not having to draw the grid was like a big plus, you know, like not having to put it out there, not having to like spend all that time working on a grid when you really could have been spending it drawing. It was a really big advantage for a lot of people, and you know, I'm super thankful to that professor who just like downloaded a bunch of grids and let us have them. I'm sure there's students who are in my class that still have those grids too, just like me, who like kept them over the years, because not even for using them, just the nostalgia of it, the novelty of having this somewhat archaic thing. And you could like print these grids out too. Like you could print them out and put them on a piece of like Bristol paper and use them to map out where all of your stuff was going to be, and then draw on the paper, but have the grids be printed in blue lines so they didn't show up. And there's just a lot of fun extra steps that happened back then that don't really happen as much now, especially not in like comics or illustration. A lot of that stuff has gone to the wayside, mostly because of style shifts, but also just because we've got things like Clip Studio now. We've got things that do all of that work for us, and that's a really good thing. Like, it's good to have these tools that we can use that are super, I guess, user friendly. Like, it reminds me, Clip Studio reminds me a lot of an Apple product, like in comparison to Photoshop. Photoshop is kind of like a finicky grandmother a lot of the time. It is kind of rude. It doesn't really care what you want. Tends to like smack you over the head with its own ideas, and also it's 30 or 40 bucks. Clip Studio, on the other hand, is pretty cheap, easy to use. A lot of the stuff is well labeled. You can download your own things. Like, just myself, I make some of my own brushes, like this pen I made a while back. But just like things like that are really important to me. Like, the customization of being able to use the tools matters, and I know that to a lot of people that's not as important, and they're fine with using Photoshop, and a lot of people know how to customize Photoshop too. It's not that it's not customizable, it's more that the things that you can get in Clip Studio nowadays are just so comparable that there's almost no reason to spend all this money. And I'm not even like saying that as like a shill for Clip Studio. Like, I don't get paid by Clip. I wish I did. I wish they would pay me to talk about them, because I think I've convinced like 40 or 50 people to buy Clip Studio at this point. Just like my friends in day-to-day life who are hobby artists who don't even do art for like a living. I've just, ranted and raved about Clip Studio so often that I've made them buy it. But yeah, like, I wish that was a thing that I got paid to talk about it, but I don't. I just really like the program and use it constantly, and have not stopped using it since I downloaded it, which is impressive, because normally I download a program, I learn it, and then I get bored. The ADHD sets in, and I move on to another program and try to learn that, which is also another reason why I don't think that I could animate, because I would learn all of the animation programs and like all the tools and everything, and then I would just get bored, and then I wouldn't want to animate anymore, and it just wouldn't turn out well for me or anyone who was trying to watch whatever I was making. So yeah, right now I'm thinking I really want this character to have like pigtails, because that like braided pigtail look seems very autumn to me, and seems appropriate, but also just I just really like drawing pigtails. But I'm just gonna, like, when I mark in that I want pigtails to be there, I tend to go back in with paint to make those more realistic. So I'm just gonna mark in these kind of like log shapes, these like soft renditions of like where these are going to go. And then once I have those marked in, I can kind of like tweak them and play with them. Also gonna mark in where the tails are gonna be. It's just, I want these to be, because I have this hand right here, and I don't want these pigtails to look too claustrophobic on this hand, so I might do an upward one, kind of like that, but then that might obscure with the edge of the vase, like this. Yeah, I think that works. But yeah, pigtails just read as like super autumn to me, so we're gonna definitely do pigtails. Make it so that the rest of this hair kind of goes in with that, so that they're kind of buff on certain edges and soft on others. Yeah, okay. And then now it's time to move on to this hand. I had so much trouble drawing this hand in the initial sketch that I just gave up. Like, you can see I did the classic like two fingers put together thing, and I still kind of want that to be the pose of this hand, but I'm thinking I kind of want to alter it just a hair, just a little bit, to make it a little bit more relatable. What if we do this? And just kind of like tweak where these fingers are going to kind of make them read as like holding this thing a little bit more. But yeah, also I know I was pretty late coming onto the stream today, so I'm probably gonna be streaming pretty late tonight just to do this piece, because my ultimate goal, and I don't know if I'll get to it tonight because I was late, but my ultimate goal with streaming like this is to just finish a piece in one sitting, kind of like a speed paint, but like not really, because I did the sketch beforehand. But I used to do speed paints on YouTube, and I used to have this like following of speed paint people. That doesn't really work anymore on any social media. Like, speed paints aren't a thing, which sucks because I think they're fun, and I know that a lot of people really like those like oddly satisfying videos, which are kind of the same thing when you go into like the art versions of them. But yeah, like speed paints just stopped being a thing entirely, which really sucks. But since I used to do them, I kind of want to like bring back the energy, but with a live stream, because I think it would be fun to do that and have it be just watch me complete an entire piece in one sitting. If gamers can sit at their laptops for like 8 hours at a time, I can do that too. Although I will admit that like the way that I'm sitting is really uncomfortable, like super uncomfortable. But I don't know. This is the only way that I can record and also draw at the same time. So this is the way it's gonna have to be. That looks a little bit better. It looks a little bit more cohesive, more put together, I guess. I still think the size of this hand might be a little off, but we'll come to that when we get to it, I guess. And I'll do the little parts of the hand here. Yeah, I do think that hand's just a hair small, but it might also be I made the hair kind of big. This is quite a lot of curlage for hair, so it might just be that. It might clean up a little bit when we get fully done. But it looks somewhat in proportion to this hand, which I think I did a much better job posing and like acting with this hand, which I guess is another thing I could kind of talk about. Acting with your characters and with your illustrations is really important, and I have trouble with that sometimes, which is, I guess, another reason why I never want to be an animator. I have real bad trouble conveying things, acting cohesively in drawings. It's hard for me. I don't know what it is. It's more like, it's not that I have trouble drawing the pose or like drawing the acting. It's more that I have trouble with the emotion reading the way that I want it to, which I guess might be something that I struggle with having autism is that I don't understand emotions to a level where it takes a lot for me to be able to like actually draw an emotion. Like I know a lot of artists do this, but like I have to like pose my face in the way that the emotion is happening, and even then it's still kind of difficult. But it's like, it's not that I do that because I'm trying to figure out the way the face is posed. It's more so that like I don't process the emotion. Like I can't really comprehend it, and to make it comprehensible, I try to pose my face that way to try to like tell my brain like, hey, this is what we're trying to evoke here, and then for some reason I can draw it. But it's still hard. Like I still run into like a lot of snags doing it. I had like an okay run of it when I was making comics and going to university. I can do like standard emotions, like I can do these sort of, you know, ethereal like elf-like characters with emotions like that. I can do these sort of softer faces with these like, you know, very very otherworldly expressions and things like that, which a lot of that is stuff that science fiction nerds will get all wet for. So that stuff gave me a lot of work for a while. It made things pretty easy for university, and going through doing some like minor art stuff made stuff a little simpler, I guess. But then as I wanted to do like more complex emotional work and wanted to like really get in there, and like right now I'm trying to do a whole series on nightmares, and it's really kicking my butt. Like it's really kicking my butt trying to get those emotions right, trying to make them come out the way that I want them to, and make them feel the way that I want them to. Because a lot, I guess something I never got explained to when I was in university is a lot of emotional work in illustration, or just in drawing in general, is making things messy. And I know I'm doing like a really messy sketch right now to kind of like convey what I want here, but I'm really bad at being okay with things being messy. My artwork itself has this sort of like messy quality to it, but that's very deliberate, and I'm super bad at letting things be messy to be messy. And a lot of like conveying emotion is just letting things go and letting it be. And I'm bad at that. I'm super bad at that. It's something I really want to work on, or like get better at as I age as an artist. And who knows, with the way the world is working, who knows if any of us are going to age or get better at anything. Things might just end, which I guess is part of the reason why we're here, and we're making these, and we're just talking and chatting and having a good time here. Because why not? If things are going to end, I might as well end it doing a fun stream, talking. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say here, other than I'm trying really hard to make this fun for me to draw. Right now, I'm not really liking it. I haven't been liking this piece for a long time. Since I got the idea for it, I've been kind of like, no, that's stupid. We're not gonna do that because that's dumb. But then, like, I guess it kind of grew on me, and I realized that your ideas don't have to be super well defined or like the best idea you've ever made or anything like that. They can just be an idea. And part of trying to make myself fall in love with art again is just kind of like going with the idea that I had first. This was the idea I had first, so I'm not gonna apologize if it comes out ugly or dumb. It is what it is. This is what my brain wanted me to make today. This is what we're gonna make today. We're gonna do this, and it's gonna come out good, whether I like it or not. But yeah, I'm gonna put a little like beach ball there. I'm gonna put in the rest of this, whatever liquid this is. I haven't even decided. I don't even know what any of this stuff is. I still don't really know what I want to put on this character, like what I want this character to be wearing. I put on this like mesh shirt thing here, and I don't know if I like that, but I'm gonna leave it for now because it's kind of working. But over time I might like put a sweater or like maybe we see what the sweater might look like. Maybe we do that. Let's see. That little ends of the sweater would end like there. We put in the little puffy end pieces. There. I really want this like kind of goth vibe for it, and like I want autumn vibes, but I also want like edgy. I don't know how to convey that. I guess I could kind of like, if I make the sweater up here. Ooh, maybe if I do like this kind of number in the sweater, like ends like halfway. But yeah, I want this like kind of like edgy vibe. I mean, everything I do is an edgy vibe, but you know, like more edgy than what I normally do. Worse. Just make it worse. Make it more edgy. And then maybe like these little parts of the sweater where the sleeves are like this. I still might make it like a mesh sweater. Is that even a thing? Do mesh sweaters even exist? I don't know. But yeah, I might make it like a mesh sweater. Make it kind of still edgy, but also kind of not. Gonna have it have like a really, really big open collar, because I want this to be the main center point here. Kind of do this number. Something seems off. Can't figure out what. Maybe the head is a little too big. This should be here. It should be there. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit too big. Well, if I shrink this part down, kind of pull it inward, it might be that it's too far in one direction. Like it might just be drop all these layers down. I also like to combine layers on my sketch. I know a lot of artists just absolutely hate doing that and want to keep all the layers, and like you'll see on the sideline I do have a lot of layers that are still exposed, but I also just like to combine my layers. Makes life a lot easier later down the road, so I don't have to argue with myself about like which layer I put a bunch of stuff on. Also just simpler for me to look at, and I do it when I'm painting too. I tend to just like throw all my layers together in one bucket, just because I ain't got time to worry about layers and, you know, all that stuff. No time. Okay. I think that looks a little better, but I hate it. Like, it's more, like, anatomically correct, I guess, but it just, something about it still seems off to me. I don't know what is wrong, but there's something wrong with it. Tilt, maybe? Is it the tilt? It might be that. If we pull it forward again. No, I think that's still right. Gosh, what is it? What is bothering me about this? Oh well. I'll find out later. I'll find out while I'm painting it, and then I'll be mad that I didn't fix it in the sketch. That's always what happens. It's always what happens. I'm gonna take a clean these with the eraser here. Also do like a quick check up on some music stuff and some other things here in a minute, just to make sure that everything is going smooth, going well. Let's finish up this here first. Put this back together. Also, I know I'm really quiet right now. There's not a whole lot I can do about that because my microphone just hates me. I'm trying my best to like speak up, but I'm just naturally a really quiet person, so I have a lot of trouble speaking up and, you know, being louder. So this might just be like a really quiet stream. I'll do my best to like say things louder when they're important, but I'm really just kind of like rambling, so and don't worry if you can't hear anything. I tried to turn the music down a bit. If you just want like music and no me chat, put on a music stream or like a podcast or something else to listen to, because we all know that no one's gonna be sitting here waiting to listen to my voice. But yeah, you can just put on anything else you want to listen to and kind of draw along. I know a lot of people do draw along things. I mean, hell, even I draw along with stuff. Like I love Drawfee. Love Drawfee videos. I love just like things like that to get in the mood of doing art. Just put on a stream of other people doing art, and then it's like suddenly I have all the energy to do art again. And that's been a real problem in this quarantine time of like not having energy to make stuff. I know I wanted to start a comic and a Dungeons and Dragons campaign based on that comic a little while ago. Still working on it. I can't like fathom doing things, and this is another reason why I wanted to create this piece and kind of like get myself back into liking doing art again. Also because Inktober is happening. I know there's like a big controversy around Inktober. We all are aware of this, right? The art world is imploding on itself, and Jake Parker is terrible, and like the person that accused him is a bad person. I don't even know what the full story is. I just know that like I'm not doing Inktober this year, but I am doing a drawing a day. I'm still gonna try to participate, and even on top of like commissions and trying to make the comic I want to make and everything, I'm gonna do my best to do that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take a short drawing break right now. Let me pull up a break time here. I don't have like screen things right now, so we're just gonna do this for the time being. just so if anyone ever watches the stream back, they'll see that. Not that anyone ever will, but you know, you'll know why there's nothing happening on screen for a little bit. It's because I'm gonna take a hand break. Also, I have carpal tunnel, which is real sucky to have if you have trouble like drawing, or like you have trouble playing video games. Carpal tunnel is kind of a bitch. So I don't know, like it takes a lot out of me to sit here and like finish a piece, but also I got these copper compression gloves, so I'm hoping that like trying to do the pieces with this on makes things a little bit better. But yeah, I guess I'm just been taking short breaks every once in a while whenever I'm drawing, making sure that I like, you know, flex my hand, do stretches. There's a lot of really good like stretches online that I've been trying to follow, but I'm like super worried that I'm gonna lose my hands by the time I hit like 40. Not that I think that the world will still be around by then, but you know, like you do kind of worry that like, oh, what if I stop being able to do art? I don't know what I'll do with myself if that stops. I guess I'll still make art. I just won't make like intensive, like bearing down on my hands kind of art. But I'll still make stuff. Like I'm not gonna stop making art. But yeah, it's been difficult with the whole carpal tunnel thing, especially because I sit kind of weird when I'm working, and it just kind of like really screws up everything. But I am gonna, I guess, kind of like pause my mic for a minute, do a like short break, and then I'll be back in like 5 minutes or so. I'm gonna get it like a coffee, get something to drink to kind of, maybe I'll get tea, something to like clean my throat out a bit so I'm not as scraggly. But yeah, I guess I'll be back in like 5 or 10 minutes. We're still gonna be trying to finish this. We're about an hour in, which actually, like, looking at what I've got so far, an hour in, this is pretty good. This is kind of where I expected to be an hour in. I expected to like have most of like the main stuff sketched out so that I could do the background later. So when I come back, it'll be background time, and yeah, we'll do that. So BRB for like 15 minutes. Aha! Okay, I'm back. I got myself some tea, and I got some nice chai that I can drink while I'm working. But yeah, now it's time for the crazy part that I really like to do, which is where everything goes kind of insane and off the rails, but we love it anyway. So my original thought with this was to do kind of like white border, if you can see right here, that just kind of spans the entire okay, sorry, Pinterest tried to give me some Dungeons and Dragons lore stuff to look at. Not right now, Pinterest. We're doing some art that for once isn't Dungeons and Dragons related. But yeah, I want like this background to be white. So what I'm gonna do is put in, and I might like muss up this rounded square a little bit later, but for now I want it to sort of like bisect a little bit with the arm, and this bottom arm here, and sort of like bisect the shoulder. I don't want any tangents going on with this, and we're gonna let that render through Clip Studio. If you heard popping, that's my carpal tunnel. Alright, and then I'm gonna, oh yeah, I forgot. That's one thing that I've noticed, is that Clip Studio's most recent thing has been that the fill layer stuff doesn't work for some reason. Like, it fills everything instead of just filling the selected area. So you actually have to select the layer and then kind of do a little bit of an expand of like 10 pixels, and then go in and fill manually, which sucks ass. Like, I wish Clip Studio would fix that, but for now we'll just go in and do this manually. We're gonna have to manually erase parts of this anyway, but for now this is fine. And then I'm gonna go in, kind of like manually cut away some parts. This is something that I do a lot. I've done this with my Christmas cards every couple of years when I make them. I just like to cut away like parts away from a static background, like a white, or sometimes with the Christmas cards I'll use like a black, and then I'll have like gold cuts in it. Ooh, geez, that burger that I ate, really getting the burps up. But yeah, I'll just like cut away things like that, put that back out, and do some touch-ups here with the marker tool. It doesn't matter if this is clean or not right now, I just want to see how it might look. So far I'm kind of liking how this looks, so I'm gonna keep these little cuts here, just to have it have like a bit more depth. And then what I really want is, I have this idea for these like autumn trees in the background of this piece, and you'll see them kind of like here in the sketches, and I want those to be on top of these cutaways. And luckily I have, first I want to, I guess I'll do the selection around the sketch layer first, and then color that a different color, because I want this person, this character, and the picture and everything to be one color, and then for the background to be a different color, because I want it to convey a different mood. So, oh come on, alright, that's good enough. So I want it to do a slightly different mood. Because of that, I'm gonna select these layers here, and try to make these selections work. I know that like my selection tool doesn't love me, so it tends to over select like that, but it doesn't really matter if I have like some over selection, because I can just go in with this and fix it. But I want this background color to be like a pink, like a really pastel kind of pink, and I also want it to like fade from the pink to like a yellow in almost like a sunset. So I'm gonna start off with the pink and then fix it up. And actually, some of this like selection stuff isn't that bad, because I like this pink reflection right here on the picture. I'm gonna keep that there, because that I think is really cute. And then I'm gonna, some of this pink reflection on the arm is okay. Some of it I'm gonna get rid of. Go through and do that. And it's just because like I said, I don't do anything cleanly, so I didn't close my lines. Comic artists will be like, close your lines, always close your lines. Yeah, I can't be bothered. I can't be told to close my lines. I just really can't. Like, I know it does special things, makes some things easier. I just can't. Like, I paint on top of lines a lot, and I don't do a lot of line work. So me closing my lines is pointless in my mind. And then what I can do is go from here, create a selection from this layer, and then I really want like a nice kind of like watercolory brush. I really like this one. This running edge watercolor is really nice. And then I'm just gonna like really gently squiggle my paintbrush up the sides of this like pink, just sort of get that ombre like summer sunset look. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of white, just like puff up that pink slightly. And I think near the top I might even add some like red, maybe like this hot pink, just to like give that a little bit of nuance there. And then maybe like a little bit of this orange. This is the orange that I used in the foreground, but I feel like too much of it will oversaturate everything, and I don't want everything to be one. Like, I don't want the background and the foreground to be the same color, especially not when I'm doing like such a like conceptual thing, where everything is supposed to be different. Also, this makes it a little bit easier later down the line when I want my like background colors to be lighter than my foreground, because now when I paint on top of this, the background colors are always guaranteed to be lighter. I'm also going to bump up that white just to make sure everything looks right, and it does. It looks fine. Then I'm gonna put that white back down. I'm gonna put this pink back down. This is the like I'll always be fluctuating with these two. This is the sketch layer, and then this is that without the layer underneath it. I just leave this sketch layer on because I actually like, when I'm doing speed painting, I like that sketch layer to still be on, because it gives me a guideline. And also sometimes when I go back in and I line over top of a sketch like I just did, like when I darken up these lines, sometimes I really like some of the lines that I made previous, and the only way to really like keep those is to keep that sketch layer on and then do my painting on top of it. So part 2 of the background here is to do the trees. Now I have this like blank layer right there, and something that I really like here is I have these like tree trunk brushes that are really neat. I don't know if I'm gonna use them or not because they're a little finicky to use and make look real, but they are really cool. So I might just like experiment with them and see if I can make something look cool. I actually really liked that pink and gold tree trunk. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna play around with those to make a sort of like soft background, and I'm gonna blur these out when I'm done with them. I want them to be not very visible, just to be like hints of trees. I'm gonna put actual trees in the foreground, but for right now I just want these like soft little hints of like something back here, and I want them to be summery, but not like so summery but that they don't function as autumn trees, because I'm going with this sort of like blended mood here. And the foreground, you'll see later, I wanted the color palette for it to be very like autumn colors, so that's why this like pink is here, because this pink is going to be a transition between those colors. So I want it to be this like oranges and like greens and stuff like that. And I'm also going to be adding leaves to these trees that also have that sort of vibe, so I really want those to kind of like shine when I'm done here. Also, I'm not really caring about where these trees end up past the past the foreground or past the white box that I put in, because I want them to be sort of pushed back in the background, so it doesn't really matter, because they're not gonna, I'm gonna put this white box over top of them like so, and they're just not gonna be visible at all, but they are going to be there, so they're gonna have a little bit of a impact, I guess. Gonna put those back here, and then what I think I'll do is kind of like kneaded eraser them to get them pushed back but still visible through the glass. And then, because this is glass, I want everything to be somewhat see-through past it, and then this is hard surface, so nothing see-through past that. And these are just very rough, like they're not meant to be fully here. They're meant to be like implications of trees, like the vague gesture of what a tree might be, because they're going to be so blurred out when I'm done with them that it's not going to matter. Okay, now the fun part where I get to use one of my favorite tools, which is the blur tool, and I'm also going to gently run the eraser through these just to like really break them up, make them part of the background, and then run them through a strong blur. Now that strong blur isn't going to totally blur them out, because I have such a big canvas size, it didn't even do anything. So we're going to do it again. Also, blurs take forever. I'm gonna Gasson blur them a little bit. I'm gonna French blur them. French blur them again. Okay, and then we're gonna pop them back. And at this point, I can multiply the layer. And then I've got these like trees. Trees. And now that I have these, I can kind of like soften them, make them a little bit through to clean up edges, clean up parts of the tree that didn't come through totally or that got erased. Also, you can run your pen tool through to have like little branches. This just gives a vague indication of trees. That's really nice, especially if you're trying for something that has multi-layered, like forested background. It really helps to have like a tree brush that just does the work for you, so that you don't have to worry about it. You can just get on to drawing. Also makes it easy that you don't have to actually draw all those trees. I know if I had to actually like go painstakingly put in all that bark, I would be really upset. I do the same thing with like shelves and like items that belong on shelves. Like the current comic that I'm working on, I have a shelf brush for it. It's not in this pack for Clip Studio. I actually have to like open the page, I think, to find it because it's in my media. I probably have to like open my media page, which just for shits and giggles, like this is all the media that I have that are just like random things. Like I have like chess pieces, I have stars, I've got aliens, just like a bunch of other fun stuff, halos, suns, just to be able to like do some, ooh, I really like this, I might have to use that later. Where's my ruler tool, or my oh cool, it's already downloaded there. Awesome. But yeah, I just have like all this neat stuff that I can use to make cool things. Here's all the trees. But yeah, like all this stuff is real fun. But I have a bunch of that. Some of it's downloaded it, some of it's stuff I made, some of it's stuff that I just like imported from the internet and somehow made a thing. Oh, I'm using the other brush. But yeah, that is really a lifesaver when you're doing a lot of work, and especially when you're doing a lot of work really fast. Really helps to get a lot of stuff done quickly, to have those preset brushes and presets and everything all like squared away, that you know where they are and you know how to use them and what is the quickest way to get something done. It just really changes your like art flow process. And I wouldn't say that like any of this right now is my actual process. This has just been, for the past few months, me hating how I did things and wanting to learn how to do things better. Just like, not so much hating my art, but more so hating that I wasn't enjoying doing my art anymore. I wasn't learning much that was new to me or that was fun for me to learn. And because of that, doing art just wasn't enjoyable, and I wasn't progressing in a way that I wanted to, and it upset me. So I decided that I would just learn a bunch of new like tricks and learn a bunch of new tools, get really good at them, and then over time I could figure out which ones worked for me, and which ones I didn't like so much, and it just made so many things so much better very quickly, to just have that and be able to learn new things and not be like beholden to the old ways that I always did stuff. I've also decided here that I really do want this sort of like yellowy tone, and that I am gonna add a little bit more red to this background to have it be a little bit more autumn, because like right now it's reading more like soft spring sunset, and I do want it to read as autumn. I just don't want it to be so divorced from the main color scheme that it doesn't translate. So I do want it to be an autumn sunset. I just I added a little too much pink for that to happen. Let's go add glow. That's a little too much glow. Let's go overlay. Let's try that. that's a little bit better. Let's try a yellow and just kind of like gently yellowify this. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's more what I was like envisioning when I thought of adding that. And then I can always add a glow around here later once I have like the more substantial stuff painted in, to give it even more of an autumn theme. But right now, let's do, where is my white? Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, there we go. Let's do that all the way. I quite like that. I think that's cute. So next I think I need those like big lumbering trees in the front, and I don't want to use the tree brush for that because the tree brush is very, like, if you can see, it's not very clean. It's fine for like background pieces, but when you've got something big in the front that you want to like really be the forefront, sometimes that tree brush can be a little bit a certain way. I'm gonna try a different tree brush. No, that one's too knobbly. Let's try this one. Oh, well, it's got to be big enough to see. That's too smooth almost. That's like not even a tree trunk. Let's try. Let's try this. That's a little bit better. I like that. And I might use like a combo of these brushes, and a combo of these colors. Another thing that you can do with these, and you can kind of blend them together to make some fun stuff. But before I do that, I'm gonna take all of this off, and I'm gonna go back to the original like sketch portion, and this will help me figure out where I want these like major trees to be, because I want like these big like in your face trees in some parts of this, and I want them to go over that white portion that I put in earlier. So I'm gonna just kind of like gently rough in these like large knobby trees. That's a little too heavy, but this I think will add a little bit to like the foreground of this. And also I'm planning on adding in a couple of like a couple of leaf brushes, and if those go well, then I might take the tree brushes out. Let's do this. No. Alright, let's get rid of this. Just start over. I don't really like any of the shapes that I'm coming up with for this. I don't know if anyone else like runs into that problem where you draw a line or a shape, and then you're just like, that's not the shape, even though that's exactly what your brain said that the shape should be. Your brain is still like, that's not the shape, that's not what you wanted, and you just like end up trapped in that like perpetual shapes are fake sort of feeling. That's where I've been for the past like 5 or 6 days. I haven't like updated anything on Instagram or on like any of the stuff that I've been doing, just because like my brain has just been in this turmoil of like punishing me for the shapes that like come out of my brush, and it's just been like, hey, none of those are valid, and then I use the Control Z, and you'll see like right now I'm using the button press instead of the Control Z, and there's a reason for that. The reason is I found that if I stick my arm on the canvas or on the tablet, and I have access to Control Z at all times, I will just use it forever. Like, I won't ever get anything done because I'll always be using Control Z to try to make whatever I'm doing better. Like, perfectionist brain takes over and I can't function, and I had to stop using Control Z that way. Like, I can still use it, but I had to like limit myself to how I use it. I'm not allowed to have my arm always on it anymore. I tell myself that I'm only allowed to use it for really things that really upset me, things that like really bother me in the way that they look, so that I don't end up just like hanging on to Control Z like a crutch, because I really don't want to do that. I really want to fall in love with making art again. Has been, I guess, partially not being a perfectionist all the time about everything that I make, and stopping myself from using Control Z has really helped in that pursuit of just not being a perfectionist and not forcing myself to make everything the best that it ever could be. So it might, I don't know, that might be something that would help someone down the line if anyone ever listens to this. Just like maybe limit your Control Z usage just slightly so that you're not leaning on it at all times. Not saying that you can never use it. Control Z is a grateful tool. I use it, as you can see, frequently. I like 5 out of 10 times my brush is like over there hovering on the little button. That's not a bad thing. It's just that like you do eventually get to a place where you're just not confident anymore in drawing a line. And for me, that place really just started taking over, and it was something that like my professors used to say, and I just never listened to because I was like, that's dumb. Art is always good, and like you're just mad because you don't like digital art, when that really wasn't what they were trying to convey. They were trying to say that sometimes it's good to give yourself limits on your tools. Sometimes it's good to tell yourself that you can't use a certain tool just to, you know, teach yourself that you can still make art without it. So yeah, that's been a fun time learning and getting better at doing, just, you know, over time, not being so obsessed with using Control Z, but it has really helped my art in the long run. It doesn't seem like it at the moment, but I don't know. I'm confident that it's helped, so, and that's, I guess, all that matters. If I feel like it's helping me, then it's helping me. Also, I'm realizing that like I put in those like background trees, and then I realized that I really want more background trees, so that's what we're doing right now. We're just making even more background trees. So these trees also won't be going over top of that white background that I put in. These are also gonna go under, but they're gonna end up being like more in front than the other ones, just FYI. Also, I have to figure out how to end all of these trees. I forgot that trees have bottoms, and that I am doing a piece that ends further down in the face. I've been really into like doing a lot of portraiture lately, so I'm like my ability to fathom things below the neck has been shot in the foot recently. Like, I haven't been able to really make a lot of art that is full body in a while, because a lot of the main sources of like income that I've gotten recently have just been portraiture and like commission work, which I don't hate. I like doing commissions that are portraiture commissions, don't get me wrong, like they're great, but I also wish that I was doing more full body, like bigger work, so that I wasn't so rusty when it comes to like thinking about posing and positioning bodies. And I think this might be where a lot of my like pose problems have been coming from lately, is just haven't been practicing doing actual pose drawings and like actual figures. I've been mostly doing portraits, and mostly doing portraits of stuff that like I already know how to draw. So it's been tough getting myself to get back into this mindset of like drawing good things, drawing things the right way, I guess, or drawing them the way that I like, the way that I think looks good. But like everything, I think that's kind of a learning curve. Over time, you just get better, your eye gets better, you get better at recognizing what you like and what you don't, and you get better at putting in, your eye gets better at learning where the lines that you like go over time, which is something that like I'm still struggling to find when it comes to digital art, is like I don't particularly know what type of line work I like. Coming out of university, I don't really know what my style is anymore. I got shot by the learning curriculum. It kind of like took away a lot of my ability to have that like eyesight of like what I like and where my art style is. And a lot of people say that like it doesn't matter, you'll always have your art style, but I don't always think that's true. I do think that your art style is I heard on Drawfee earlier, I was watching Drawfee, but like I heard them say that your art style, you can't run away from it, it chases you, and that's super relatable. But also I do think that like over time, if you're bombarded with messages of like what is the right way to do things, you will eventually lose your style. And I think that's a little bit of what happened to me. I'm not gonna say that like, oh, I blame school or whatever for like bad art, like no, but more so that like I think I just wasn't I was so young and not secure in my style when I got into school, and I didn't really know what my style was, and so I didn't know how to protect it. And then when I was like bombarded with all these messages of the right way to do stuff, that just kind of clicked, and I followed that, whether or not I agreed with it. And in some ways I regret that now. I regret this feeling of not knowing who I am as an artist sometimes. Like I feel like sometimes I wish I had stood up for myself more, or had more to say about what I stood for art-wise, like what I wanted to make. And I feel like if I had done that, maybe I would have more of an idea of like where I am going in art now. But also I'm grateful for the time that I had to experiment with that kind of stuff. I feel like that's also really valuable, and there's probably a lot of artists out there who don't really have that. Like they aren't given the time to experiment and figure out what they actually like or what brings them joy. They're just kind of like pushed into a pipeline of what makes money and what sells. And I feel like some schools kind of do that, and it's sad to see because you can see that artists don't really have their own identity sometimes because of it. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna I need to figure out what I'm doing with these trees. I really like some of these trees that I made. They're very cute. But I can't put them all in because then that would cover up some of the pretty edges. If I put them behind the white, it'll cover up a lot of the branches that I made, which sucks. If I put them in front, they're cute, but they're also, maybe if I do some like colored leaves on top of them, maybe that will make me like them. So I also have some foliage brushes, which are cute. There's some, oh, those are adorable. If I do pink, okay, no, let's not do that. What if we do some like soft greens? I really don't like that. There's just like something about this that doesn't feel right to me, and I don't know what it is. Cause like I don't think that I need to have leaves on these trees, but I also feel like if I don't put them, that I'll be upset. Oh, those are full-on trees. That's neat. I didn't know I had like a full-on tree brush. That's not the right kind of leaf. That's more like a laurel. Nope, that's not it either. See, all of these are very like good if you're doing like background foliage on something. That's cute. Okay, what if I do that in random places? This is kind of the brush that I used when I was making the title page for this stream. This like kind of foliagey autumn brush. Alright, I like that, but I'm gonna give some time before I fully commit to that, so we're gonna erase the rest of this. While I'm thinking about it, I am going to do some extra work on the front end of things just for now. I think some of the issue too is that I don't really like this texture of this tree trunk, but I think I can fix that with paint, so I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. Yeah, let's see. Because what I really want to do is get in all these like colors, and then kind of over time build them. And if I kind of like build them up enough, they might layer really well, but I have to first get them to build right. Now I'm at an impasse where I have to figure out what I'm gonna do for actual character, because that's the next layer. Thankfully I have this like nice palette down that isn't that bad. I'm thinking if I do something like, let's go with sort of yellowy peachy color. That this will work. It might just have to be a little bit more cool toned peach. There we go. Okay. So then I need to put in, this is the layer that I had the leaves on. Yes. Okay. So now I need to go in and do really want to emphasize, soften this. Because I really want parts of the hand to show through here. Just pretty much anywhere that's going to be slightly highlighted. I'm going to go in and add this like soft peach color. That's going to act as like softer skin tone. It's not going to be the full skin color, because obviously we're going to go in and add like shadows and all that stuff. But for right now, that'll just indicate that things need to be softened and lightened in that area. I'm also going to go in and add some black to these corners of the sleeves and to these parts, just so that I can see how it looks, just like in general. Because I do think that this is going to be really cute, this like sweater situation with this big open collar, because I love me a sweater with a big open collar like that. Also, I might add some like buttons. I think that'd be cute. Oh, that's cute. Okay. So we're gonna do that, and then we gotta darken this color here. Then a fun thing about doing everything all on one layer, like your sketch and all that stuff on one layer, is you can just go in and absorb a color and just paint over it. This is my favorite part of doing paintings, that I can just go in and be like, I want to pick up that color now, it's gonna be that color now. And the cool thing about doing that is you can get these like fun tonal gradients with it. It also helps you be able to see your darkness and lightness a lot, and be able to know like where your darkest levels are really easily. Also, I'm gonna switch to a nicer brush here, a brush that I like better. Like, I really like these sort of like watercolory brushes for doing speed paint stuff, because they have a lot of fun texture. Texture is like a big deal for me, at least. I really like texture. So I use these watercolor brushes constantly, and they're really, really fun to use. Not just like texturally, they're just like fun to blend. They bleed really well. They're really good. They overlay really nicely. So I tend to use them a lot, because they get this like, not really watercolor, like they're almost like gouache. Like they feel like using a gouache brush, like traditionally. And I don't really like using gouache traditionally, but for this, it does really work. So I like to use them for that reason. Also, I'm going in and I'm adding, you'll see that like the colors are like morphing as I'm picking them up. The reason is I have this this layer set to 53%, so all of my colors are going to be slightly muted. So when I pick up a color like this, it's going to be slightly muted when I put it down. And that's good for this layer, because this is a really like soft figuring out shadows and lights layer. But for later layers, you'll see that I don't do that, and I have it just like pick up directly the color. So, but a really good hack for doing this is that you can really easily get some like shadows and lights in if you do the 50% color, and just pick up colors from the background, because then everything is this really homogeneous, put together thing, and you don't have to worry about the frontal colors and the background colors meshing weird or looking strange. It also helps that I did the sketch in this, you'll see this like kind of like not amber, but kind of brown, like almost like a mauve color, and I did that for a reason. I specifically put that color in so that when I went back to this stage, that sketch would be the right color to eyedropper tool from, so that I could plan ahead and have proper tones to eyedropper when I needed them. It also really helps doing that when you need like some good darkness in your drawing, but you don't want to use an overlay layer. It helps to have that sketch be a darker tone, but not like black, because if you go with straight black, then that sketch layer is gonna end up very muddy very fast, and that's not what you want. So I always go with like an amber tone if I'm going with like, this is a very warm toned piece, so I go with that. If you're going for a more cool tone piece, I would go with like a nice, I have over here this like green that I use constantly. That's my favorite green. You saw me try to use it for the leaves. It didn't really work, but that's my absolute favorite green. I use it all the time. In Pantone, it is called Laurel Green. I love it so much that I know the Pantone color, and I know the Pantone color like number as well. I know how to get it hex code online. So basically, if you stranded me on an island and I had to find this green to escape, I would be fine. It is just the like, it's a soft green, but at the same time, it's not saturated, so it's like a very softly saturated green that doesn't read as like super green, which I just love, because I really can't stand hyper saturated, overly obnoxious green. That's one of my pet peeves, ever since I was like very little. And I guess I'm a redhead, so when I was little, my family forced me to wear a lot of green, and I just never got over it. Like, I've had a grudge against the color green for all my life. So nowadays I have that one green that I'm like, that one's okay, that one's allowed into the club, the rest of you get out, which is unfortunate, because I want to like the color green. I really do. I want to be a good artist and like many colors, but green is just, green and orange are just two colors that I don't think I'll ever truly enjoy. Like, I really like soft kind of coral, a bit like the color that I'm using here, that kind of stuff. Fine with that, love that. Can't get enough of this like corally, orangey kind of soft color. But like, as soon as you go straight up orange, I lose my shit. I can't use orange, can't look at like the, what are those called, the caution signs or whatever, those just, I hate that color. I hate that color so much, and it's like such a popular color nowadays. It's so trendy to have that really blaring orange. Like, a lot of sneaker companies use it now. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's upsetting. Not that I would ever buy like overpriced sneakers. I'm not a sneakerhead. No shade to sneakerheads, but that's just not my gig. I do really like shoes though. Buy a lot of shoes. Shoes are different than sneakers, I guess. Are they? I don't know. I'm guessing they are. But yeah, also I'm going in with this like kind of lighter shade here, but I'm also blurring it out by eyedropper tool, and just kind of like dropping it in and then selecting around it and then selecting it and just kind of slowly blending it. This brush does have a little bit of give to it, so you can kind of gently blend. You have to be real careful with it. but it does give, so you can do a little bit of blending. Also, I'm gonna run through, I think, what color should I make the hair? I really like this kind of like black or dark brown sweater situation, but I don't want the hair to be brown. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to go with blonde. I don't want to go with red because y'all know that I'm a redhead, so I don't want to do that. Maybe if I go with kind of like a purple, like this is a cute color, and then we go with this. It's like the undertone, but that's like very, I want like more of a mauve. That's too red, I think. Yeah. This is a cute. That's similar to the other one, but I think if I take this color and I make it kind of this like rose madder purple, I like that. Yes. Okay. We're gonna go with this. This is a cute color. This is gonna be the hair color, and obviously we're gonna put in highlights and shadows and stuff. Also, where is my sketch layer, just to make sure that I'm running everything through it. Okay, cool. Neat. Awesome. Alright, so like this, you can see kind of how everything is being put together. You can kind of see how like the lightness layers and the darkness layers are playing off each other here. There's still some like scraggly bits, but I never really worry about those because when it comes to painting, I tend to just paint over a lot of the worst bits of things, which I guess like a lot of people would recommend not being that careless, but I don't really care. I tend to just go with the flow, paint over whatever I want to paint over. Over time, you get more used to this, like, you get more, your eyes get more attuned, to, I guess, to what you want it to look like, and then you just let things go when you don't need them to be there anymore. Also, you just saw me put in the rose madder color as a color in my color picker. I only do that when I feel like I'm going to use that color a lot, and this is not the right color. I need it to be a little bit more rosy. But when I do that, I just go in, I make the color, and then I kind of color pick it and put it in the thing. That way, whenever I want to come back to it, I can just go back, reselect that color, and put it down. I think I really like this hair color. I really do. I think this is really, really cute. Now I really want this hair color. I've never, like, I have dyed my hair, but like I've never dyed my hair a super different color. With my red hair, I never wanted to ruin it, so when I dyed my hair, I dyed the tips of it black at one point because I was a terrible emo bitch, and then I dyed the front of it blonde for a long time, because I got really into cosplay. I'm still into cosplay, but I got even more into cosplay, and I was cosplaying Link from Legend of Zelda at the time, Wind Waker Link specifically, but it doesn't really matter, and I really wanted to have hair that was like natural, that could come out of the Link hat and have the rest of my hair be tucked into the hat, because of the, like, if you've ever seen Link's hat, there's like a weight to that hat, and it's hard to get that when you don't have something stuffed into the hat, and a lot of people just stuff their hat, but I was like, I have all this hair, why don't I just put all my hair in the hat and then just dye the front of my hair? So I dyed the front of my hair blonde, not like all of it, but like a good section of my bangs were blonde for a long time, and then they took forever to grow out, and now I have like a little bit of like hair dye trauma with it, because like I'm afraid that if I ever dye my hair again, that I'm gonna hate it, and that I'm gonna want it to be gone for, like, immediately, and then I'm not gonna be able to get my original hair color back with dye, which is something that, like, it seems irrational, but I've never seen hair dye the color of red that my hair is, so I am, like, legitimately scared that I'm never gonna be able to get my hair back to its color, if I dye it. So I do worry about that, and because of that, I just don't dye my hair, which sucks, because I want, like, really fun rose madder hair color like this. I want, like, I don't know, don't you want, like, fun hair colors? You know, like, I don't know if anyone else has been like this, but it's just been, like, such a part of my life, I guess, as a character designer, has been thinking of all the neat hair colors that I could have if I would actually get, like, the balls to dye my hair. I never will, though. I can't see that in my future. I can't see myself gaining up the courage to dye my hair ever, but it would be so cool if I did. Also, we're gonna put in some darker colors here to throw over this, where the wrist and the thumb meet the glass. One thing that I realized with glass is that it lightens colors that are near it, and then, like, it'll lighten kind of in a concentric circle anything that's touching it. So you do have to, like, kind of carefully put that in, or else it's not gonna look like glass. It also has these shadows around it that I'm putting in now, where anything that's on the further part of the glass does have a bit of a shadow to it. But also I'm gonna accentuate a lot of these shadows later, and put them in more fully, so that they have more of, like, a cohesive color palette to them, and they're not just put in. Also, I really want to put in, like, actual like a summer color, and I don't this is how much of a fall bitch that I am. I don't know what summer colors are anymore. Like, I can't think of any that would make this, I guess, make sense. Oh, excuse me, it's those allergies again. But yeah, I can't think of, like, for a drink for summer, I can't think of, like, I'm guessing, like, lemonade, but I don't want to, like, just paint everything in this picture yellow. But I might have to. But then that just sort of, like, reads not summer. That just reads yellow, which almost has more of an autumn feel than the rest of this. I don't know. I'll think of something to do. I'll figure it out. Gotta figure it out. Alright, let's erase that. Oh, I know. I can put in the lights of the eyes at this point. That's a thing that you can do really easily. Also, I really lightly touch with this pen brush, because it's like super, if you go heavy on it, it's just like a paintbrush. So when I go in, it's like very light and very soft. Let's see, there's usually a highlight right about there. Go with this lighter color here. Push. A lot of painting is just like pushing and pulling colors until you find something that you like. And right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going through, finding, like, some colors that I enjoy, and then putting them on the canvas and taking them off again. It does help to have a bit of color knowledge when you're doing this, but for the most part, it's a lot of trial and error. Oh, that's straight up black. That's not what I wanted. Let's undo that. Let's do. There we go. That's what I wanted. What's this soft? There's this little like part of the face. A lot of the time, I found that like in my older work, I really didn't understand. Like I understood faces to an extent, but I didn't really understand faces until much later. But there's this little part of the face right here, right above the lip, where the lip like juts out, and some people have this little like Cupid's bow thing happening, and I like to draw that. But even if you don't, there's this little like place where shadow won't gather on a face, and it took me like years to figure that out, and then it took me even longer to figure out how to render it and how to put it in art. And the same for like there's this spot right here by the eye that has like almost a perpetual highlight on it, at least on most people who don't have more inset eyes. There's like this highlight on it that just stays, and I didn't really know how to illustrate that, so it took me a long time to figure it out. I'm gonna lightly get rid of that. I don't really like that highlight. I'm gonna keep it soft there, like it was. But yeah, this is what life is gonna be for me for the next few hours. I might not finish this today. I had like a not really ambitious idea, but I had like a further idea that I wanted to do if I had been on time for this stream. And since I wasn't, we're probably going to be delaying this, but I could probably get it done by next stream. But it's just because everything was so late, it's going to be pushed back. Because I'm planning on ending in about maybe half an hour to an hour, and there's no way that this will be done by then. But it's coming along pretty well. As you can see, I've got like most of the main color palette kind of worked out. I've got a lot of the main stuff worked out. I just need to push and pull some colors, get some more things detailed in, kind of like get a cleaner line weight and work on everything. And the real thing with stuff like this that I do, that's like these speed paint stuff, is I really like to fully like, I guess, blur out or like soften a lot of the lines, as you can see me doing here, because I really don't like lines in anything that I do. So I tend to use color and value and hue to like get rid of line weight, but that's gonna be that's a much bigger task than one day can do. So, but so far I really like how this is going. I won't say that I've like totally cured my art depression, but I have like gotten to a point where at least today I'm like jazzed to work on commissions, which is why I have to end the stream soon, because I do have other work to do tonight, and I would stream that, but that's commissions, so it is someone's like private IP, and I always like, I would love to stream me working on commission pieces, but I feel bad because that is someone's like private work. Not everyone feels the same way about it as I do, or as other artists do, but I like to be safe. I don't like sharing, like, if it's someone's character that they made, I don't like sharing that stuff, because it just feels wrong to like put that out there where they may not have given permission for that, or where they're not benefiting from it, you know? Like, it's not my work to share. So I like to keep the commission stuff off stream and under wraps. Over time I might do some commission streams, but for right now I'm gonna keep those off, and just do art that I had an idea for and I wanted to make like today. I guess in future streams, if you ever see me doing commission work, just know that like I most definitely got permission from the person to put that on stream. And like for my later commission work, I do think that I'm gonna have that be part of the agreement for certain types of commission work. Like obviously not all of them, but for certain types of commission work, I do think that like the agreement should be that I should be able to use the work on, you know, stream and doing channel work and stuff with it. But for right now, since I don't have that agreement in place, we're just not gonna put commissions on stream, which sucks because I'd like to show what I'm working on. In a lot of ways, it's the same with like posting commissions and stuff on Instagram. I post like work in progress shots of some commissions on there, but in general I don't really like to post them because I'd rather just post the finished work and then tag the person. But that's why when I'm working on commissions, Instagram goes kind of quiet for a while. It might pick up a little bit more over time when I get more commissions that are less someone's character, less someone else's intellectual property, you know, because that's what it really boils down to for me. I wouldn't, if I was commissioning a work that I have commissioned work a lot from other artists, and if another artist, like I wouldn't be angry if they shared the thing. I would be mad if I wasn't like credited as the creator of that thing though, and that's just where I'm a little wary of it, like, because what if the person isn't ready to share what they've made, you know, you never know. So I just try to be cautious. I know probably seems silly, but I also know that like as a baby, as an art being, I was hyper reduction sensitive and hyper I guess just sensitive in general of like my artwork and my creations being a thing and existing in the outside world, and I still am like that. Like I'm still afraid of putting myself out there and putting what I make out in the world. And if I was, you know, I think back to like 16-year-old me, and I'm like, if 16-year-old me had commissioned a piece of like one of my characters from an artist and they had put it on the internet without asking me, I would have been mortified, and I would have never wanted to talk about like my creations ever again. I would have been scared no matter what the reaction was, like even if it was a good reaction. I'm super bad at handling that stuff, and I assume I can't be the only one. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm just weird like that. Maybe no one else feels this way. But either way, better safe than sorry. I'm going through and doing all these little, like adding shadows, painting over them, adding more shadows, painting over them, and I'm not really liking how it's going so far. Like I like how the piece is looking, but the hair is still bothering me. So I think I might need to cut the stream off here, pick it back up another day when I think that there's more there for me to really work with, when my brain is less fried and I haven't run errands all day maybe. But so far things look fun, they look cute. I like this concept. I really want this to be done. So I might do another stream sometime this week to finish this. If I do, all the streams are going to be put up on YouTube. They always are nowadays. My first stream is up there even though it's silent. because my mic wasn't working. My second set of streams is probably up there, I think. So they all probably should be up there. If you just want to like chill and have a really chill art time and not talk about like important stuff, just like hang out, that's usually what I'm doing here. I'm never really like overly serious. Usually when I'm doing these, I'm really tired, so I'm not here to be like yell about stuff. Sometimes I am, but like most of the time it's gonna be real calm, real chill. Most of the time we're just gonna make some fun art and talk about how we're making it and how it's made with art. No, but yeah, most of the time things are casual, things are chill. Other than that, I think I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna take a break and flex my hand a bit. I say that, but I'm still drawing. But yeah, if you drop by today, thanks a lot. It means a lot. I liked having you, even though I can't really interact with you. Maybe sometime I'll like set things up so that I can talk to somebody on stream. I don't know if anyone would want to do that, but that might be fun. Maybe I will have like something else going on eventually. Is that something that we want? I don't really know what I want to put together for this. I don't really know if I want like, because speed paints don't really do a thing, but I don't know how to fill the time when I'm just like doodling or like working out issues with an art piece, or like talking about how art works or whatever. Like I don't know if that's entertaining. I don't know if any of this is entertaining, and if any of this is like content. Not that I want it to be. I really don't want to be YouTube famous. Please don't make me famous. I'm already nervous and anxiety enough. But like, I don't know. I guess if anyone has any ideas, go ahead and comment or like message me. If there's anything you want to see, or if there's any idea you have over like what possibly would make this fun. I'll try to figure out why my mic is always so quiet. I turned it up as far as it can go, so I'm hoping that you can hear me. But I'll try to figure out what's going on with that. I'll try to figure out a couple other things. But this is just like learning experience stuff for everyone. And I've got like some experience doing internet art stuff, but for the most part, this is all new to me. Anyway, thanks for being here and listening and dropping by, and thanks for coming to my channel. And if you enjoyed it, I guess subscribe. YouTube really likes it when people say that, so I'm gonna say it. Not that I ever think it's gonna change anything, but you know, you don't have to. You're not required. No one's required to do anything in this world. Anarchy is a fun time. Also, please vote. Like, if you live in the United States, vote. That's the only other thing I have to say. Also, just I really thank whoever is here, like hanging out, listening to this, having a chill time with me, and not having to have me interact with you. Like, I really appreciate that. That's the kind of friendship that means a lot. Even if we don't know each other, that means a lot, that you would hang out and have a fun time. Other than that, you can find me on the internet. I go by A Hymn to Humanity pretty much everywhere. This is my YouTube channel. On here there's a bunch of links for my website and for my Patreon, if you want to join that, although there's really no reason to. I don't really post on many platforms anymore, not as much as I used to. I'm trying to get back into it though, so maybe if I had more followers I would have more to say on the internet. But in general, feel free to follow me. I always like new friends, and I do promise that, like, I don't promise that I can always be there when you try to talk to me, or like if you message me, but I can promise that, like, I do appreciate the message, and I do really like new internet friends. But yeah, what else is there to say? Oh, check out my friend Indigo's podcast, Time for Podcast, on I believe it's on Audacity. But yeah, check out Time for Podcast. I am on there. I ramble just as much as I am here. Also, my friend Indigo is there, as well as our friend Moses. We talk about random stuff. Right now we have the one episode up, but like in general, it's a fun time, fun casual ramble time, just like this. If you like that kind of content, also check out I don't know, I guess you can find me on Twitter. I was gonna plug my friend's game, but I don't think that he wants me to put that out there yet, so maybe stay tuned for that, considering that I'm on the team for that. I will let you know when I'm allowed to say things about the game. For right now I'm not. Also, I am in the process of making a comic, and I will update I guess when that is out there, when that is fully out there. But I think I am gonna have to end it here. It's been a fun time, guys. It's been good. It's been a fun hangout. I'm gonna real quick throw up my where is it? I don't know. I was gonna throw up a link bracket, but I'm too tired to even bother with that. But anyway, I hope you liked how this is going for now. I hope you liked the drawing that I started and didn't finish on this stream. If you want to see me stream the rest of this drawing, I will be doing more of it probably sometime tomorrow, and most likely also sometime on Saturday. I tend to stream Wednesdays and Saturdays. If I'm not streaming Wednesday, I'm streaming Saturday. If I'm not streaming Saturday, I'm streaming Wednesday. Sorry for the stream being pretty late today. That was mostly my fault. I had like bad budget planning, where I had errands to run, and then I totally forgot that I had planned out the stream for today. But in general, that usually doesn't happen. Usually I'm on my ball. Even if my mic is off, I'm still drawing and streaming. So, but anyway, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for having a fun time with me. I'm gonna kill the music here. We're gonna have a fun fade out to black, and yeah, thank you guys, and happy almost Halloween.